All right, here we are. It is Thursday the 12th. A few days past the race, obviously, and I figured let's just do a quick recap of the weekend as it was, and then we'll talk about what's coming up next. So as I'm talking to you and prepping for this, I'm pulling everything up in Garmin so I can see my segments from the race this past weekend. So a couple of things I didn't tell you guys. So first off, let's recap the whole weekend with the carb load. They're starting Thursday. Carb load, I think, went really well. It was like 620, 630 grams of carbs per day for those couple days. I actually didn't feel bad at all. I didn't feel over bloated. I felt, like I had energy. But again, you're not going to feel the carbohydrate energy until like the deep end of the run. But then you're combating energy with pain and soreness and your lactic acid, your lactic threshold, the tightness of the muscles and the dehydration from the running and such. So did I have energy to keep going? Absolutely. Could I withstand the pain to keep going? No, probably not. Obviously not. So, but that was that. But the carb load, I think, went really well. Starting Thursday, I think I did 3 days of carb loads, which was really good. My choice of carbs were fine. Like I said, I didn't feel over bloated. I didn't feel like I had any gastrointestinal issues, if you want to call it that. I felt really good. Okay, so leading up to race morning with the fueling plan, I had breakfast, I had the caffeine, the scoop 300 milligrams of caffeine from pre-workout. I had the 60 grams of carbs and the 700 milligrams of sodium with the electrolytes preloaded into before the race. When we got down to the race, the pre-workout seemed to be timed just all right. I took the extra 100 milligrams when I got down there. I had the Pop-Tarts right before the race, about 30 minutes before race started. I probably could have held off the Pop-Tarts a little longer because I didn't start until almost 7:30. I think I took them closer to like 6:30, 6:40, thinking I was starting closer to 7. It took a little longer because I started with friends back in Corral 10. And it took a little longer for us to get to the start line than I had anticipated. But I mean, potato. I mean, it is what it is. So everything leading up to the start of the race, I think, was really good. The temperature was great. I was gonna bring my beanie. I didn't bring the beanie. I knew I would sweat over a little too much. I didn't bring the gloves like I had said I was going to. I didn't need them. My hands were not cold at all. And then the race started. Again, I took the Imodium. I didn't have to shit myself the entire time running, which was great. I didn't have stomach pain, stomach cramps. I didn't cramp. My muscles didn't cramp. I did get that little side sticker somewhere around mile like 17 or 18, maybe 19. But that was the only real cramp I had, was the one in the rib that you get, like whatever. But all in all, I think everything leading up to the run was done and executed well for where I'm at with my fitness now, in my marathon prep now. We're gonna talk, let's break this down by 5 mile segments. And each 5 mile segment I'll put up over here in the corner so you can see. So the race plan I had, and let me pull that up too, and let me put that here as well. The race plan I had was the same one Dom set for me last year when I ran the marathon, which was a warm-up. So basically 0.2 miles of recovery / just kind of let the body get loose and kind of recover. Bookmarking or bookshelving 5 mile intervals. So 0.2 miles for the first start, and then a 5 mile interval, then 0.2 to recover, then 5 miles, and so on and so forth, up until they cross the finish line. So if I look back, and again, I'm gonna have to I'll put this up here in the big thing. The paces for every 5 mile segment got a little bit faster every single time for the first 3, and then they slowed down for the last 2 to kind of go up, make a nice little curve. So 11:08 per mile was the target, then 10:53 was the target, then 10:39 was the target, 10:53 was the target, 11:08 was the target, and then the last 0.2 you give it everything you have left. If you do it right, you should have some left in the tank to where you can pick up your pace a little bit. All right, so that's what my goals were. Okay, so with that, the first active period, first 5 mile period was a 11:08 goal, 11:08 target, and I ran the whole 5 miles at an 11:04 pace. So I was almost smack dab on target. Now I was feeling really good, so my recovery, which should have been a 12:15, was like 11:30. So I was like just kind of coasting, and I was like, I remember thinking to myself, because I just got up the hill going into Fort Sam Houston right after that, and I was like, I'm just gonna just let it go, right? Because I was kind of hitting like a downhill part of the course. It was like a slight downhill, and slowing up would have been a little bit harder and probably been a little more on the legs. So I just said, screw it, I'm just gonna go. And I didn't go fast. I did slow down a little bit for that, right? But it's only 0.2 miles, so it's like enough to catch your breath. I think it was perfectly timed because it happened to be like right after a big hill, or one of the big hills on the front half. So it was like, okay, I was able to regain my breath and so on. Now, the next 5 miles was a 10:53 target, and I hit a 10:45. So I'm feeling good. 10:45, still like 6 seconds off pace, so I'm not too far off. Like I didn't blow up, going into that. And then again, the rest was supposed to be 12:15. I did 11:44. Again, feeling okay. The third 5 miles, my target was 10:39, and I hit 10:49. But I think here's where I saw Connie, so I kind of like had a little bit of a slowdown around when I saw Connie, and then just kind of got back into a groove, right? But either way, I'm at 15 and a half, almost 15.6 miles at this point, and I'm feeling good. I just got into the park. I'm kind of coasting and cruising, so I'm okay. That rest period, I slowed down, 11:51, almost at the 12:15. But again, I was feeling okay at this point. I remember, I texted my wife because Siri voice text. I texted her around mile 14 saying that, I'm still cruising at mile 14, because I had told her the night before that if I could get to mile 20, I think I'll be okay for this run. So at mile 14 or 15 where I started to crash out last year, I knew I was doing much better than last year, because I was like, I'm at 15 and I'm still feeling good and going. I texted Dom and Helen at the same time, and I was like, look, my quads are sore, my hip flexors were killing me, but I was still cruising going into mile like 15 and 16. So that was that. The third one, 11:51 for the recovery, and then 11:11 for the next 4 miles. So miles like up to the 20 miles. So the fourth 5 mile block was 11:11 pace, and my target was a 10:53. So I was a little slower, but there was a little. Now we're starting to hit a little bit more inclines, and that wasn't fun. I chose to walk the next 0.2 miles. Right, I was like, you know what? I hit almost 21 miles. I'm gonna walk for the first time in this run, and that was a huge milestone for me personally. And what was so huge about it was I've never run 20.5 or almost 21 miles consecutively without stopping in my life. That was the first time I'd ever done that. That was the longest I've ever done an unbroken run. And all my training runs leading up to this, in the summer, even in the winter, the longest I'd run was 12. And I said, coming out of the Thanksgiving run, I felt like I could have done the 16 or 17. Hindsight, I wish I would have done the 16 or 17 with my legs to get them just that one little shot at, okay, we know what this feels like, let's keep going. Okay, so I walked that 0.2 miles. I ran into a friend who had started ahead of me, and I caught up to him at mile 21, or right around 21. And then the next 5 miles kind of sucked. So my target for this next 5 miles was supposed to be 11:08. And this is where the run walk started, because it was a lot of uphill for the last 8 miles or so was like 7.5 or 7 of it was uphill. A good majority of it was uphill. So my target, although it was supposed to be 11:08, ended up being 13:02, and that's because I was doing a lot of run walks on this. Now, the good news in this 5-mile stretch was none of my miles hit 14 minutes. So I was doing a little bit more running than I was walking, but I was, going up those hills. Like, there was just no reprieve from those hills. It's like, you think, okay, cool, we hit a flat section, you look forward and there's people above you, and you're like, what the hell is this going on? So I pushed that, and then my last 0.2 was 12:38. That was everything I had left. I managed to cross the finish line running. I wasn't horrible. I wasn't in bad shape. I wasn't, hating life. I was sore, but I wasn't horrible. Okay, so the good and bad of this run. Great run. I really did enjoy this run. The first 11 and a half miles is the best because that's where the support is. So that, you start off running through downtown San Antonio, and then you run past the Pearl, which is like a higher end, like upscale shopping center, living, apartments and stuff like that, like condos and such. You run through like Breckenridge Park, which is like by like the zoo and the Japanese tea gardens and such. It's a big picnic area, ball fields and trail runs and stuff like that. So you run through that. You got the run through the blue, the forgotten, the fallen soldiers. Then you run through like a whole stretch of like probably about a quarter, almost a little more than almost half mile of American flags. Soldiers, military members holding up the American flags, real patriotic. You get into that, you run into Fort Sam, Houston, where, military current service members are, on their Sunday morning at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, they're out there cheering you on for no reason whatsoever except because they're supporting you run through Fort Sam. You get out of Fort Sam, and then, again, you're running back through downtown, pretty close to where we all started, and then you get to that point where the half marathon and the marathon split. Okay, and the marathon goes left, half marathon goes right, and that's where like the downtown running club is set up, and they got you're running through a whole. It felt like Tour de France type stuff, where you're running in Europe, where there's like people on both sides of the roads, and you're real tight quarters. Once you got past that, there was minimal crowd support. There was minimal support. The crowd on the road that you're running with dissipated by 60%. Like, it was 60% gone. Like, you could zigzag the whole road if you wanted, back and forth, and you wouldn't bump into anybody for a while. The first half, you couldn't take 2 steps to right or left without hitting 6 people. It was so close quarters, whatever. You get to the back half. The park wasn't as bad this year for me because I was, I think, mentally ready for it. And then you got to come back up the hills, and then even the final stretch on the last road, it's not super well supported. You're going until you hit the finish line, and then you see all the people there at the finish line. But it was still a good course, rock and roll, good event. I'm not gonna be mad at you. San Antonio is going a different route. They're not using Rock and Roll Marathon for their next year's event, but they're doing the San Antonio Marathon. So it'll be the inaugural run of that particular race series. Here is the medal. Okay, not bad. Kind of looks okay. So what was my time? Well, I did not hit my goal. My goal was 4:45. My target was 4:40, between 4:30 and 4:45. I did not hit that, but with everything that happened, the way it happened, I can say I did hit a new PR. So, new PR, awesome. Is it the PR I wanted? No. Do I think I know what I have to do for next one? Yes, I have to run more volume, more distance. That's what I have to get my feet and my legs used to running beyond 15, 16, 17, 18 miles. So I think had I physically been able to get to the 20 miles on a training run, this run would have been no problem whatsoever. So I hit a new PR. My time was 5 hours, 3 minutes, 33 seconds. Again, not awesome. I still haven't hit sub 5, and I'm kind of mad about that, but almost a 15-minute PR is not too bad. Okay, yes, somebody of, you know, who has a whole channel based on endurance events, you think I'd be able to do running events better. I have nothing to say on it. Like, you know, that's been my downfall with triathlon. It's been my downfall with this. It always comes down to the running. So that's what we have to work on. That's what I have to work on. That's what Helen and I are going to work on, is getting my run down to, again, ideally, I'd love to be in the 3:30 to 4 hour range. Somewhere in there, sub 4, consistently. I don't need sub 3. Sure, maybe one time, just take an entire year dedicated to going sub 3. But I got to get to sub 4 first before I can think about sub 3. All right, so what's next on the race schedule? And I had a plan, but plans went to shit. So my wife and I we're trying to do one last family vacation this year because Mackenzie's getting older. You know, we don't know how many more family vacations we have left with her. Gigi's, you know, getting older, but she's still, you know, we're still cool with her. But with Mackenzie, you know, she'll be 21 next year. She's probably going to be, you know, depending on when her and her boyfriend decide to get serious and whatever, she may or may not be. I know she's saving for her big trips for her. This may be the last year for a family event. So as of right now, we want to minimize travel for 2025. So I was going to do the Austin half marathon in February. Still up in the air, but it's not official. I was going to do the rock and roll Nashville marathon in April, but again, due to trying to reduce travel, we're not doing that. And I don't know if I can get a work trip in conjunction with that. I can't predict that far in advance with that, so that's off the schedule. Nothing for the summer, and I was going to do the 2025 rock and roll San Antonio Marathon, but rock and roll's gone. Even though the San Antonio Marathon would be the exact same weekend, that's the week that we're planning the family vacation. I don't have a race on my 2025 schedule as of right now. And it's kind of concerning, but not really. So until I decide what race I'm going to do, I'm going to work on me. I'm going to strength train a lot. I'm going to run volume, but I'm not going to do tempos. I'm not going to do any like fartleks or hills. You know, I'll probably run hills if they're on the trail, on the path, but yeah, I'm not really going to do a whole lot of specific like hill sprints or hill intervals. I'm going to start you know, obviously I'm just getting now, like my legs just today after 4 days are just starting to feel okay where I can walk normally. There's still a little bit of pain and soreness left, but I'm okay. My foot's starting to feel better because it was swollen underneath my toes, so that's feeling better. I'm just getting to the point where I can walk without feeling pain on my foot. Everything else felt great, but so I'll probably start working out again on Monday, and I'll probably just do some basic lifting for the next couple weeks until Christmas, until New Year's. After New Year's, though, January 8th, I am officially starting a 75 hard based program. It's something that I wrote for our triathletes. It's called Triposse 75. It's still 75 days, no skipped workouts, but obviously there's a strength focus and an endurance focus to where you want to build on your zone 2 of a specific discipline that you struggle with. So I'm not sure if I'm going to run more or I'm going to bike more, or maybe just split them and go 3 and 3 and then add a swim. I'll probably start getting back into the pool in January as well, just so that when I do get back into Ironman racing, that it's not a big shock to the system. So I'll probably do three bikes, 3 runs, 7 days of lifting, but the lifting is mobility. There's a couple mobility days. There's a lot of heavy strength days. And I'm just going to do that for the 75 days and see what happens. That's as far as I'm planning. So that's from January through March. After that, I have nothing. Maybe we focus more on building getting my FTP up. Maybe we focus on my FTP and running distance. You know, obviously keeping strength training. I don't know yet. All I know is that starting Monday of this year, of the 15th of January, for the next 4 weeks, I'll be lifting weights with Gigi, and then January 8th, I'll be starting the 75 hard with myself. I don't think anybody from the triathlete team is going to do it, and that's fine, but that's my plan. So until I find a race, I think I may have found a race for December, but it's kind of like at like my final week of should I race? We'll see. But I haven't talked to Dom and Helen yet. They're in New Zealand for the Ironman World Championship, or the 70.3 World Championships, and yeah, they're not exactly available for conversation. So that's the plan. That's what we're going on. Yeah, I may run the Austin half marathon just to kind of complete it, get the medal. There's a half marathon in March called the Run the Alamo 13.1. I may run that again just for the medal, not to like PR it. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what I'm doing, which hurts me because I normally have this shit planned out. But anyway, that's my recap for San Antonio 2025. I'm curious, or 2024. I'm curious to see what the 2025 course looks like. Maybe it is a race where I can actually make it happen. We'll see. We have to do a whole lot of planning and such. So until then, until the next video, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. We're still going after that Boston qualifier. And who knows, maybe I extend the qualification period for me until a 2025 race or 2026 race. Don't know what's going to happen. But that's all I got for now. Until the next video. Whenever that will be. It'll be soon, but I don't know when. But until the next video, again, thank you for watching. Thanks for supporting. Likes, comments, anything you want to see. Is there any specific fitness challenges you want me to video, want me to record? You know, I know back in the day there was, you know, so-and-so completes this military PT challenge, PT test, entrance exam, but, you know, can I do this mile, that mile, whatever, you know. What challenges would you like to see, you know, if my fat ass could do them? I'll see you guys later. Thanks.